Greetings of the day, dear students. We have been discussing about solid waste management and the production of value added product from the waste material. One of the important value added product that has tremendous role in the society nowadays is the bioenergy production and biofuel production by microbial activity, and the application of methanogenesis and anaerobic digestion. One of the important value added product that is created in sanitation microbiology is the biogas, and we have discussed there are four important steps, that is hydrolysis, acidogenesis and acetogenesis and methanogenesis are the major reason for the production of a biogas. And the next topic we have discussed, they have mentioned in the syllabus, the design and management of biogas plant. The previous class we have discussed what is methanogenesis and what are the anaerobic sludge digestion mechanism, and one of the important aspects is the biogas. Okay, so biogas power plant is one of the major aspects in sanitation microbiology to produce biogas. So we are going to discuss what are the design consideration and how the management of biogas power plant is made. And as you all know, the biogas reactor, that is a small scale biogas reactor or anaerobic digester, is an anaerobic treatment technology where we are able to produce biogas, and the digested slurry, that is known as digestate, that can be used as a fertilizer, and the end product, that is carbon dioxide and methane, especially methane, can be used as a source of energy, that is bio energy. And biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide and other trace gases which can be converted to heat, electricity or light. The biogas composed of 50 to 75% of methane and 25 to 50% of carbon dioxide, and there are trace amount of other gases like nitrogen, hydrogen sulfide, water vapor and other component. A small scale biogas reactor are typically designed to produce biogas at a household or community level in the rural areas. So actually the airtight containers are filled with animal manure from the farm. Otherwise the kitchen and garden waste can be added or the toilet can directly to be linked with the bioreactor for the co-treatment of the human excreta. So here you can see the biogas plant, the design you can see, the biogas plant which transform the traditional manure or excreta that can be managed and reduce the methane emission. All those things you can add at the input, and here you will be having the bioslurry that will be acted on the microorganism, and it undergoes methanogenesis and produce the biogas, and the biogas which substitute the conventional domestic energy source which reduce the reliance on the fossil fuel and firewood. And this biogas is a novel source of energy that can be replace the conventional fossil fuel and firewood main emissions. And the bioslurry, whatever it is obtained from this particular process, can be utilized and that substitute the chemical fertilizer and reduce the nitrous oxide emission. So this is the important aspects. So the biogas reactor are installed at a household or community level in rural areas for the co-digestion of animal manure and toilet product. The produced gas can be recovered and utilized either directly for cooking and lighting, or it can be transformed into heat in a gas heater systems or into a combined heat and power in a cogeneration unit. Okay, so that is the very very important. It can be directly used for the cooking, and that can be utilized for the lighting, that can be transferred from one form to another, that is heat, or that can be combined to produce heat and power in a cogeneration unit. The digestate, that is a nutrient rich sludge that is obtained from the biogas power plant as a waste material, which can be used as a fertilizing soil and which amend the agricultural farm. The animal manure and kitchen waste can have lot of organic matter, and the process produces lot of biogas for a family to cover at least the cooking and the routine requirement. And the humans, which can produce less excreta, which contains material that can be converted into biogas than animal dung or cows. Okay. However, the toilet that can be directly be linked to the biogas plant wherein the human feces are digested together with the other waste. So human excreta, whatever that is, that is emerging, that can be utilized as a good source of biogas. Okay, and this is the best option to provide the safe treatment of human excreta and thereby improve the hygienic situation of the family, and thereby provide a good sanitation microbiological aspects in the community. The availability of a renewable green energy source reduces the use of firewood for cooking and indoor air pollution. If you use the firewood for cooking, that leads to a lot of air pollution, and it can be replaced by the biogas. The biogas digester can have a potential to minimize the health risk and environmental pollution by using human excreta as a source for producing the energy and the fertilizers. And you know that the major process that is happening in the biogas formation is methanogenesis. So you know that there are 4 important steps: the hydrolysis, acidogenesis, acetogenesis and methanogenesis. And methane formation is the main important aspects, that is a result of a series of metabolic interaction among various groups of microorganisms. The first step, the hydrolysis, where the microorganisms secrete the enzyme that hydrolyze the polymeric substances into monomeric units such as glucose, amino acid, which are converted to high volatile fatty acid, hydrogen and acetic acid by a process is known as acid generation or acidogenesis. And in the next step, the acidogenic steps that leads to the second stage, where the hydrogen producing acetogenic bacteria convert this volatile fatty acid, example propionic acid, butyric acid, which produces carbon dioxide, hydrogen and acetic acid by a process called as acetogenesis. So acetogenic molecules are deriving. The last step, the methanogenic bacteria, which convert hydrogen, carbon dioxide and acetate to form methane and carbon dioxide, and this methane is the most important source of biogas, and the chief and principal component in the biogas is methane. So this is what we have already discussed, the major microorganism which is involved in this particular step, the biogas microbes, that is bacteria, that is methane producing bacteria and non-methane producing bacteria. This non-methane producing bacteria are acted on the first step, that is fermentative bacteria, and the hydrogen producing acetogenic bacteria. The first 2 steps, the hydrolysis, acetogenesis and some acidogenic process, that is a result of the non-methane producing bacteria, and the last step, the methanogenesis, the methane producing bacteria will be act on the substrate and that produce methane. So this is the first step where I told you the fermentative bacteria that hydrolyze and ferment the complex organic material. If it is cellulose composing bacteria, decomposing bacteria that degrade the cellulose into, that is small saccharides, into volatile acid, hydrogen and carbon dioxide, and the protein decomposing bacteria that act on the peptides and polypeptides and proteins and that produces small amino acid residues, and this will be in turn convert volatile acid, hydrogen and carbon dioxide. Finally, the fat decomposing organism that is present, that will be degrading the lipids, and that produces the short chain fatty acid like the volatile acids, hydrogen and carbon dioxide by fermentative bacteria. That is the first step. The second step, the hydrogen producing acetogenic bacteria which decompose the end product that is obtained from the first step, that is volatile acid, hydrogen and carbon dioxide, into acetic acid, hydrogen and carbon dioxide. In the last step, this acetic acid, hydrogen and carbon dioxide and other end product that is obtained in the first step and second step will be converted to methane and carbon dioxide by methane producing bacteria. So the biogas plant, it is an airtight chamber that facilitate the anaerobic digestion of the black water, that is sludge, that or biodegradable waste such as animal manure, kitchen and garden waste into useful form, finally produces the methane, carbon dioxide and hydrogen. So it to facilitate the collection of biogas, which is a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide, which produced in the fermentation process inside the reactor by the microorganism as shown in this particular mechanistic aspects. So the gas forms the slurry and collect at the top of the chamber, mixing the slurry as it rises. The pressure which exerted by the rising gas can be used to transport the gas to the collection vessel or directly to where it is going to be used. The digestate, that is rich in organics and nutrients which are completely odorless and pathogens, okay, that is free from pathogens, are partially, and pathogens sometimes partially inactivated, and that will be utilized in the agricultural farm. So what are the component of a biogas unit? The component of a biogas units are, there should be a reception tank, there should be a digester or fermenter, there should be a gas collector or gas holder. Next one, there should be an overflow tank. So that is what we have seen here as a design of a biogas plant. Here you can see the mixing tank where you are going to add all this incoming waste and substrate that will be mixed through an inlet pipe which is reached to a digester tank. There will be an inlet tank, and that will be separated by a partition wall, and here it will be slurry, and the microbial process whatever we have discussed in this step will be happening over here, and finally the gas will be collected, the gas holder will be collected, and the outlet pump will be collected the waste, and that will be overflowing, that will be a tank, and the gas the waste materials will be stored and the gas will be collected. That will through a pipe it will be reached to the domestic use. And this is another thing, the simplest to design, the inlet. There is a slurry. This is known as the the biogas major tank, and here it will be the gas, okay, and it will be transported to this tube, okay, and there you will be having an expansion chamber that will be the slurry will be expanded, and it will be collected in the form of a digestate, and it will be giving to an outlet, and it will give to an access cover, okay, and this is the biogas plant. And there will be certain guidelines data for the biogas power plant. The suitable digesting temperature should be 20 to 35 degrees centigrade. Most of the microorganisms are mesophilic or less than that. The retention time should be 40 to 100 days. It is a time consuming process. The biogas energy, that is 6K VH centimeter, meter cube, that is 0.61 liter diesel fuel. That is exactly equal to 0.61 liter of diesel fuel. The biogas generation 0.3 to 0.5 meter cube gas per meter cube digester volume per day. The human yield 0.2 meter cube per person per day. The cow yield 0.4 meter cube per kg per dung. Okay, so that is why the human excreta are much more efficient than the cow excreta. So the gas requirement for cooking 0.3 to 0.9 meter cube per person per day. The gas requirement for one lamp 0.1 to 0.15 meter cube per hour. So these are the biogas guideline data actually. So what are the types of biogas plant design? Before we are discussing the design aspects, there are three different types of biogas reactor design, and the main design elements in a biogas reactors are, as I said, there will be an inlet, okay, there will be an inlet, and you can see there will be an airtight reaction chamber. There will be an airtight reaction chamber that is completely airtight. The third one is a vessel for biogas collection. There should be a vessel for biogas collection, and there should be an expansion chamber. As you can see, this is an expansion chamber that will be leads to collect the the digestate. In the biogas vessel, the upper part of the reactor, that is the floating drum or plastic balloons, okay, here this can be a variety of design here. There will be a floating drum or plastic balloon, and based on this one there are three general types of biogas reactor designs. Any three types can be implemented in the regular and routine uses. Number one, the rubber balloon biogas plants. Next one is floating drum plants. Third one is fixed dome plants, okay. So and all this plant based on the flow that can be a batch flow, continuous flow, continuously expanding flow, plug flow, and contact flow, based on the nature of flow operations, okay, the nature of how the feed is added to the vessel, and how we are processing and how you are segregating this particular biogas, whether it is a stepwise, a batch wise, or one side you are keep on adding the waste, and other side you are collecting the gas, that is continuous, then continuously expanding both the things, and plug flow and contact flow. These are the simple types of digester design based on the flow characteristics. Then the first one is rubber balloon biogas plant. So this is the most simple and cheapest material for the construction. It consisting of a huge plastic bag such as PVC, polyvinyl chloride, in which the sludge settles on the bottom. There is no expansion chamber, and the gas is collected in the upper part from where it is withdrawn. Okay, so that is a huge plastic bag in which the sludge is settled at the bottom, and there is no side expansion tank like this. The sludge will be settled at the bottom directly, and the gas is collected in the upper part from where it is withdrawn. The inlet and outlet are attached directly to the plastic skin of the balloon, and there are now expansion chambers. Sometimes there will be expansion chamber also. To transport the gas from the balloon to where it will be used, it requires a pressure which is achieved through the elasticity of the balloon, and can be enhanced by putting certain weights on the balloons. Okay, so this is the rubber balloon, and the merits of this particular process: it has a higher temperature under a sunny sky, and it is very easy to operate, and the cleaning and emptying procedures are very easy. And the demerits is the lifespan is relatively short, and it is susceptible to damage, and the construction is so easy that the creation of local employment is minimal. Okay, so this is the design. So this is a balloon, here you can see over here, and this is a gas pipe, this is a gas, and this is a slurry. Okay, and here you can see we are adding the inlet. Through this particular pump you can add the inlet, and this is the outlet pump. Okay, and this is the slurry where the digester will be settled at the bottom over here, and gas will be collected. Through the gas the gas will be transported. So this is known as a rubber balloon biogas plant. Next one is the fixed dome reactor. It consists of a digester with a fixed non-movable gas holder which sits on the top of the digester. Where the gas production starts, the slurry is displaced into the compensation tank. The gas pressure increases with the volume of the gas stored, and the height difference between the slurry level in the digester and the compensation tank. The fixed dome biogas have relatively low construction cost and do not contain the rusting steel. If they are well constructed, they have a long lifespan. Okay, the underground construction save the space and protect the digester from the temperature chance. Most of the things will be the underground. Only a few things will be in the upper side where the gas collector. Okay, so that is the known as a fixed dome reactor. So this is the three different design of fixed dome. One is like this, you can see. Next one is like this. Third one is like this. So this is the gas control valve. You can see most of the part will be in the underground. There will be a mixing tank, there will be inlet pipe, and there will be inlet tank. There will be a digester tank, there will be a partition wall. This is the outlet and overflow tank. Okay, and the gas will be collected over this particular thing. This is known as a fixed dome reactor. Okay, the next one is the floating drum reactor. It consists of an underground digester and a moving gas holder. Okay, so it is the gas holder float either directly on the fermentation slurry or in a water jackets of its own. So the gas is collected in the gas drum, which rises or moves down according to the amount of gas will be collected. So the gas drum is prevented from the tilting by a guiding frame. If the drum floats in a water jacket, which cannot be get stuck even in the substrate with the high solid content. The main advantage here is the gas pressure remains constant as it depends on the weight of the gas holder. So the weight of the gas holder is directly related with the gas pressure, which remains constant. The construction is relatively easy over here, and the construction mistake, if you make any mistake which do not lead to the major issues in functioning the gas yield. The material cost of the steel drum are very high, and the steel parts are susceptible to corrosion. Okay, so that's another problem. The cost is very high, and the steel part will be undergoing susceptible to the corrosion. Okay, the floating drum plants have shorter lifespan than fixed dome plants, and regular maintenance is required that enhance the cost for the cost. Mainly it require a painting of the drum, that is rises, otherwise it will become corrosion will happen. So this is the example of a floating drum. Here you can see the major inlet, and here you can see the slurry and the guiding pole and the driving divider wall, and there will be overflow unit, and this is the gas, most of the things inside the earth. Okay, so this is another design. So this we have already discussed. So this is known as floating drum reactor. So based on all these three types, the design consideration are the bioreactor can be brick constructed dome or a prefabricated tank installed above or below the ground depending on the space, soil characteristic, available resources and volume of the waste. It can be constructed by brick, as you can see over here. Okay, this can be constructed by brick. Okay, or prefabricated tank, or fabrication can be done or installed above or below the ground. Okay, either above you can install or below you can install. Okay, so below, if you are installing, it will save the space. Okay, and depending on the space, the soil characteristics and available resources and the volume of the waste that is being generated. So they can be built as fixed dome or floating dome characteristics or digester that we have discussed. In a fixed dome, the volume of the reactor is constant. As gas is generated, it exerts a pressure and displaces the slurry upward into the expansion chamber. This we have already discussed. And when the gas is removed, the slurry flows back into the reactor. The pressure can be used to transport the biogas through the pipes. In a floating dome reactor, the domes rises and falls within the production and withdrawal of gas. It can expand like a balloon. The rubber balloon biogas plants are the most simple and cheapest one to reconstruct that we have discussed. So to minimize the distribution loss, the reactor should be installed close to where the gas can be used. Where the gas is collected, the minimization distribution loss should be that can be minimized. If you if you install the reactor very near to the place where it is going to be utilized. So the temperature range for anaerobic fermentation and the respective retention time over here. Retention time is very important. We will discuss that. It is one of the important day. If the digestion carried out by cyclophilic organism, the minimum temperature is 4 to 10 degree, optimum is 15 to 18 degree, and maximum is 25 to 30 degree centigrade, but greater than 100 days still takes. If the organisms are mesophilic organism, the mesophilic digestion is prevalent, the minimum is 10 to 20 degree centigrade, the optimum is 28 to 33 degree centigrade, and the maximum is 35 to 45 degree centigrade, and it requires lesser time, 30 to 60 days. Okay, and the thermophilic bacteria are most efficient. It reduces the retention time, where 25 to 45 degree centigrade is the minimum, optimum is 40 to 60 degree centigrade, and the maximum, that is 75 to even 80 degree centigrade, it requires only 10 to 16 days to produce the biogas. Okay, so these are the three important temperature ranges and their retention time. Then the next important thing is, at a household level, the reactor can be made up of a plastic container or bricks. Okay, you can use simple bricks or plastic container. The size can be varied as per your requirement. For example, 1000 liters for a single family, up to 1 lakh liter for an institutional or a public toilet application. The digestate production is continuous, thereby a provision for made for its storage, utilization, and transport away from the site. So there should be continuous digestate production. The digestate should be collected, stored, and that can be transported wherever it is required, and to prevent the over accumulation of digestate. The designs size of the reactor is depending on the HRT, depending on the temperature and the volume of the fermentation slurry, that is the feed material. Okay, then the required volume is calculated by multiplying the daily amount of fermentation slurry by the HRT. We will discuss about this. Okay, this is the how it will be calculating. You need to multiply the amount of fermentation slurry by HRT. Okay, then the size of biogas unit. The digester can be the next parameter, design parameter is the size of biogas unit. The biogas unit can be, the digester size can be defined as the total size of the biogas unit, which include the effective size of any volume occupied by the fermentation material and the volume of gas. Total fermented material and the volume of gas, that is known as the biogas unit, that size. Okay, the digester size in meter cube, that is equal to daily feed, that is going to be input, that is feed in meter cube, that is day raised to -1 into the retention time per day. What are the parameter that is depends the parameter that is required to operate the design. The size of the biogas unit depends on several factors. Number one, the amount and type of organic waste to be disposed in the digester. Next one is the objective of treating the organic waste. That means the production of energy and the organic fertilizer. Next one is the demand of natural gas and consumption pattern. Next one is the on-site nature of the soil and the level of groundwater. Then the air temperature in the region and the wind circulation throughout the different season. Next one is the training level of the staff. Okay, on the farm and home regarding the operation of biogas unit. There should be training should be given to the staff for the operation of the biogas. Okay, that is the next important thing. Next one is the selection of material. What is the raw material that is useful for that is required for the biogas? The raw materials, that can be any raw material, that is the raw material that is rich in protein, rich in carbohydrate, and rich in lipids. The next one is the total solid. Total solid contains the calculation of organic materials, the organic materials. Okay, the solid part is the total solid contained in the certain amount of materials that is usually used as a material unit to indicate the biogas. The most probable total solids value are desired value that is 8 percentage liquid part. Okay, there should be some liquid part. Okay, here you can see the dry rice straw, dry wheat straw, corn stalk, and green grass, human excrement, pig excrement, cattle excrement, human urine, pig urine, and cattle urine. They will be having the dry matter 83 percentage, 82, 80, 24, 20 respectively for all those things. And there should be the water content. The dry ice straw has 17%, that is the dry wheat straw, that is 18%, and the corn stalk, that is 20%, green grass, that is 76%, and the human excrement, that is 80%, and so on. In the cattle urine, pig urine, and the human urine, 99.96 is the water content. So this is very, very important, the selection of the solid and liquid part that is present in the material. The next one is the favorable temperature, that is the mesophilic condition, 20 to 35 degrees centigrade. But however, we should note all the psychrophilic, mesophilic, and thermophilic condition, the optimum and their minimum level and maximum level, and retention time actually. Then the pH, it is the most of the time it will be neutral pH, but it is ranges from 6.8 to 7.2, because this particular pH the microorganism can be grown. Then carbon to nitrogen ratio, this is very, very important, 20:1 to 30:1, the carbon to nitrogen ratio. Okay, and the temperature, the pH, and carbon to nitrogen ratios are another important parameter for the design. So next one is the hydrolytic retention time, or HRT. This is very, very important. The hydrolytic retention time for mesophilic digestion, where temperature varies 20 degrees centigrade to 35 degrees centigrade, the HRT is considered to be greater than 20 days. Okay, hydrolytic retention time, what is the time that is required to operate this digestion in a biogas unit. Okay, that is the next design parameter. Next one is the cross section of the digester. Here you can see the overall total volume of any digester, V is equal to Vc plus Vgs plus Vf plus Vs. Okay, so what is this? The total volume of digester of biogas power plant, that is the Vc plus Vgs plus Vf plus Vs. Okay, what is Vc? Where the volume of gas collecting the chamber. Here you can see the volume of gas which is collecting in the chamber. Then the Vgs, the volume of gas storage in the chamber, the volume of gas which is stored in the chamber. Next one is Vf, the volume of fermentation chamber. This is the volume of fermentation chamber. Next one is Vh, the volume of hydrolytic chamber. Okay, this is Vh, the volume of hydrolytic chamber. Next one is Vs, the volume of sludge layer, the volume of the digestate sludge layer. So that is the total volume of digester. V is equal to Vc plus Vgs plus Vf plus Vs. These are the cross-sectional section of the digestion. Okay, these are the major parameter or design criteria for the digestion. Okay, then another important aspect, depending upon the nature of this particular digestate, the digestates are the biogas units are in the Chinese design and the Indian design. Okay, so the Chinese design, that is the typical design. Okay, Indian design, that is the custom that is followed in India, where we are going to use the bricks. Okay, for the construction of biogas. So this is all about the biogas power plant and its design and management. So once again we can conclude this particular topic, dear students. So the class begins with a brief introduction of biogas plants. What is biogas? What is the necessity? What is methanogenesis? The biogas reactor, the mechanism, the methanogenesis. You will be having the hydrolysis, acidogenesis, acetogenesis, and methanogenesis, the major microorganism that is utilized. The biogas plant, the major component. The design of a biogas power plant, the design, the guidelines, data for biogas, the types of biogas plant and their design, types of simple digester, that is a rubber balloon biogas plants, the floating drum plants, and the fixed drum plants. Okay, then the design consideration or design parameter, the size of biogas unit, the selection of material, the total solids, the temperature, pH, and the carbon nitrogen ratio, the hydrolytic retention time, and the cross-sectional area of the digester. These are some of the design criteria. So these are the reference books that is prescribed in your syllabus. You can refer any of the textbook. And thank you, dear students, for watching this particular class. As you can see in the figure, this is a big a biogas power plant, that is you can see is various section, the raw materials are collected and transported, and you can see the most of the parts they are underground, and you can see the designs. Okay, so here you can see the biogas are collected, that is transported to the different level, and using, you can see that can be used to various purpose actually, and it require a huge land actually for the operation. So thank you dear students for watching this particular class. If you are having any doubts, you can ask me, or you can write it to me. Thank you very much.